Hello, welcome to Skill Check for Positive Gaming Podcast from YMCA Exeter. My name is Andy,
And my name is Becky.
and as I'm sure, if you're listening to this particularly, Becky's voice still isn't great.
No, it's not great still. It's very croaky.
We'll see how far we get. It might, and again, it might end up just being me rabbiting on a lot this week.
I'm on antibiotics, so hopefully by next week it'll be better. But it's still very croaky. So, yeah. It will,
You know what? We've got a summer break coming up. Maybe it could be like some sort of summer kind of cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Is Becky actually going to lose her voice?
Yep.
Tune in next time to find out.
Tune in over the summer to find out whether she gets her voice back or not. Yep.
So, coming up, is very kind of either gaming newsy this week.
Yes.
Or new kind of games that are out this week. So, first things first, gaming news. So, gaming news. What have we got this week, Becky?
Yeah, there was a fair amount of gaming news this week with various bits of stuff going on. So, our first piece of gaming news this week, which I'm going to croak my way through.
I'm going to have the notes up just in case.
Our first piece of gaming news this week is the UK gaming industry has unveiled plans to try and restrict access to loot boxes for children. Loot boxes allow players to buy in-net game extras that are randomly assigned and have been equated to gambling by many in the sector. The UKIE, the body representing gaming companies, says the proposals will improve protections for all players. The UK government has spent 3 years figuring out what to do about loot boxes, with threats ranging from banning their use for under 18s in the UK to an edict last summer saying that gaming companies must create new rules to protect children and young people. It has taken nearly 12 months for the gaming industry to agree on those rules that were in the government edict. The new rules will mean that anyone under 18 will effectively be restricted from accessing loot boxes.
And this is good news.
It's finally happening.
At the end of the day, a loot box. Yeah. I'm struggling to not compare it to gambling.
Yeah, it is. It's really...
You pay money, you're not sure what you're going to get. It might be a really cool power-up.
Yeah.
It might not be. It might be a skin you're not at all interested in.
Yeah.
It might be something that's really helpful. It might progress your game. It might just do nothing.
Yep.
But either way, you've paid money for it.
Yeah, and other countries already banned it. That's what we should also say. It's been banned in other countries already. Arguably, the government could have put their foot down and said, no, we need to ban them straight away, but they haven't. And this was like a thing that they said the gaming industry must do the work first. So this is the gaming industry doing that work. And actually, hopefully this will mean that it will be banned for under 18s, which is really good.
And on that note, it would be interesting to just see how this works in practice.
Yeah.
I think there's still going to need to be a lot of education over exactly how to police this, how to not keep your payment details on records, it's like parental kind of safeguards.
Yeah, so it's all going to be done through parental restrictions.
And how do you set that up?
Yeah, that's the question.
All that sort of stuff. I mean, it's incredibly easy, speaking as a parent, to just leave things unlocked because you know what? You get busy in your day. And with summer holidays coming up, I mean, I know it's going to be set up in time for summer, but as an example, it's incredibly easy just to go, right, I'm going to be working, you're happy doing what you're doing, and you get on with life.
Yeah.
Why kind of upset that? Well, actually, there's going to need to be some sort of education around how to set up these safeguards, how to not take, it's like how to, even if you're not a parent, even if you are like just responsible for your own gaming, it's sometimes good to have kind of trigger points between the moment where you are tempted or where you kind of go, oh, actually, I kind of want to get that.
Yep.
And pressing buy.
Yeah.
Amazon is great at not doing this because they save all your details. It's incredibly easy just to go, ooh,
click,
add to basket, or even buy now, job done.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. And we'll keep you updated on that because I think it's important that we share that news. The next piece of gaming news I mean, it is related to the Everongoing saga. So this is Call of Duty. Call of Duty will stay on PlayStation after Sony and Microsoft finally agreed a deal to keep the game on the platform. Microsoft confirmed that it has confirmed that it has entered a 10-year deal with Sony to keep the game accessible on PlayStation. This puts an end to a dispute that Sony has with Microsoft over the purchase of Activision Blizzard. The US Federal Trade Commission and the UK Competition Market Authority have both been trying to block the deal from going through this, saying that it would give less choice to gamers. The CMA has now said that it will spend the next 6 weeks giving full and proper consideration to look at the details and complex submissions from Microsoft. Andy really wants them to hurry up.
Pardon me, just wants to play WoW on the Xbox.
Yeah. So they've agreed a deal, which is probably
it's probably going to happen now.
Yeah.
They've got a deal to keep Call of Duty on the PlayStation now. Yeah. Microsoft have been saying for a long time that actually the amount of Call of Duty players there are on the PlayStation, it makes sense for Microsoft to keep it there because they get money that way.
Yeah.
There have been some thoughts online about how apparently Microsoft offered Sony a better deal before to keep more Activision games on PlayStation. Sony said no because we don't want you to have this deal. And now Microsoft and now Sony have agreed to a deal just to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation.
Oh, does that mean that they think it's going to go through and they just basically were like last minute ditched effort to like keep it on the PlayStation? Wow.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wow. That's kind of sad.
Yeah, but you know, welcome to big business and all that.
Wow. Our final piece of gaming news this week is the FIFA esports. Organisers of the FIFA esports World Cup have denied ruining the grand final event. A row broke out between the two finalists on penalty shootouts, of all things. Mark Zachary, one of the finalists, claims he tried to stop play because his controller inputs were visual on a big screen, revealing where he was aiming. Organisers FIFA said that it reviewed the footage of the final and found no competitive advantage was gained during the match. Competition game FIFA 23 has options to enable input overlay, which displays a player's controls on the screen. Fans and pundits have pointed out, even if his opponent didn't see his screen, Mark would still have been distracted trying to alert referees to the situation. I find this so funny.
I mean,
like,
poor
genuinely,
guy.
I know it's so, but I was like, I was trying really hard not to laugh because I think it's like on a round about penalties as a English person.
it's how we know football, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 points. Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy.
Poor guy. I mean,
just so sad.
Just having what you're doing up on the screen, you must be able to kind of go, all right. So he's going to shoot that way. Great. And it almost doesn't matter if the other player saw or not, because obviously that's going to put him off.
Yeah.
And secondly, I think it's just great how big this is.
Yeah, it's a huge story
thing.
I didn't have to look on any other news websites apart from the BBC News website this week, and this was like the headline story because it was a huge thing. It's a major event in the like esports calendar, and it's obviously like just not worked out the way that they wanted it to. It could have been like such a great final. It could, it's equated to like the World Cup of esports, basically.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
And you don't have to get to that sort of level to be able to compete, to be able to get involved.
Yeah.
And there are different kind of groups. I mean, I know there's groups around kind of Exeter that play different esports type games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess my point is, if you're interested in that, look out for it and try and get involved.
Yeah. And that is the end of gaming news.
This is going to sound like an advert, but it really, 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 really isn't.
Yeah.
Hashtag not an advert.
Okay.
Or something like that. And guess what? I've started this section off without saying so, Becky, this time. Now, let's talk accessibility.
Okay.
And but with that in mind, I'm very aware that previously when we've talked about accessibility, it's very much been said to rhyme with being able to access games.
Yeah.
So things like being able to play Game Pass on almost everything.
Yeah.
Or the other week when we talked about old games kind of going away like dust in the rain. Sorry, that's very...
It's very sad.
Yeah. What I guess I mean this time is about the individual game being accessible for all people to play.
Yeah.
So, for example, those with additional needs, for example. And different ways that a game could be accessible can be things like, can you change your controls?
Yes.
Do you need to use both hands, or can you change it so it's just one-handed kind of gaming?
Yeah.
Is it colorblind friendly?
Mm-hmm.
Is the navigation friendly? So is the navigation kind of large, or do you have to kind of increase the size of the screen in order to see where you are on the screen? Are the subtitles actually useful?
Mm-hmm.
So lots of games have subtitles for the cutscenes and so on and so forth. But is the subtitle actually a sensible size? Contrast wise, does it work?
Mm-hmm.
Is it easy to read? Can you change your game speed?
Right.
So, and that is good for people who need a bit more time to react, need a bit more kind of processing time, or also people who actually might find it a bit stressful. They want to play, but actually it might be a bit of a stressful thing. So slowing the reaction time down helps that out.
Yep.
So quite a few different areas.
Yeah.
You know, there's also things like, how many buttons do you have to press at the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, we've mentioned the Taming Gaming website before.
Yes.
The Family Gaming Database.
Yes.
And they basically go through like the games they review and check the games against, I think it's something like 100 different what they call data points.
Yeah.
So they've got 100 different variations of those questions, which gives a real kind of detailed breakdown over how accessible a game is.
Yeah.
They've got a partnership now with, I think it's called Hookshot Media, who I've never heard of them before, like this week, but they run magazine websites such as Nintendo Life, or Pure Xbox, or Push Square, who are magazines who I have heard of.
Yeah.
They kind of share news and review games and for those kind of assorted platforms. And what they are doing is that they are pulling information from the Family Gaming Database and displaying it on their website as part of this partnership. So therefore, meaning that more people can know if a game is accessible for them or not.
That's exciting.
Which only sounds like a good thing.
Yep.
Only sounds like a thing that, is more people should be aware of and should have access to that information. So I'm excited to see that this is a thing. And I would recommend checking those websites out, and there will be websites.
Yeah. There were loads of stories I did a quick Google when Andy said we might talk about this. I did a quick Google because I was like, I'm interested. This is interesting to me because I was like, there's lots of like, so I'm dyslexic. So sometimes reading I find really hard, and when it moves really quickly, actually it's really difficult. I've had a lot of times where I've had to like slow like subtitles on films down because I can't read that quickly if I'm like or like I can't always hear when you can't hear what they're saying if they're like mumbling or something and you put the subtitles on. I'm like, I can't read that quickly. So I've had to like do that a lot. So it's nice to know that they are trying to like adjust to how people are like using games and things. I did Google, and there was an article in the BBC last year about somebody that was visually impaired that's helping to like talk about how screen narration. So it would be like if you're playing the game on the thing, when you move around, it would describe to you what you've got in front of you, so that you can see and be told, rather than if you're visually impaired, you obviously can't see so much what's there, so you know where to aim, you know where to shoot, and actually it's lots of verbal control so that it's much easier for somebody that's visually impaired. And actually that's made a lot, like big companies like PlayStation and Sony and Microsoft and all these companies that have big games out are actually moving towards making these games more accessible. It's a market that's untapped.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just allowing people to feel included in things, isn't it? Like we talk about inclusion a lot. And actually, like it's really important for people that they feel like they can access everything, not necessarily the same way, but like just feel like they have access to things. And it's I think that's genuinely, I'm really excited. There's loads of little innovations once you start Googling. If you're really interested in this, there's so much innovation around this kind of stuff. So there's a guy on the internet that's like built a Braille like controller so that he can like play games. And it's like you can play, you just play it on you plug it into a normal computer and then you play it on your computer.
Okay.
And then you can, it's like use Braille and stuff, which is really cool. And now it's time for Andy's Game of the Week. Andy, what is your game this week?
So the game this week is focused on the thing I think your voice needs, and it's rest.
Rest?
Or sleep.
Sleep, okay.
More precisely, it's Pokemon Sleep.
Okay.
That's been released this week.
Yep.
Pokemon Sleep can only really be described as like a sleep tracker meets a Pokemon game.
Okay.
So if you imagine some sort of weird combination of those two things, that is Pokemon Sleep.
Okay.
What it does is it tracks the quality of your sleep and offers rewards each morning.
Okay.
Based on sleep quality and how much you've slept. And yes, it's also another Pokemon thing to check on during the day. If you've tried a sleep tracking app on your phone before, Pokemon Sleep probably feels and works very similar to that.
I did say that it looks quite a lot like Sleep Cycle, which is the one that I use.
There is definitely. Is it the chart in Sleep Cycle which kind of shows you light, deep sleep, even deeper sleep, something like that? Yeah, it's got that.
Okay, yep, that makes sense.
And it works exactly like that as well, in that you lay your device next to you in bed, the app open, the phone unlocked. Not underneath your pillow. The app warns you not to do that, so to prevent it from overheating. And it detects your nighttime noise and movements. Yes, you can listen to yourself snore if you really want to.
Do you want to listen to yourself snore, Andy?
No, not really.
No.
I did it once with this app, and no,
never again.
The idea is that the longer and better sleep you get, the more rewards you get. So it gamifies your sleep.
Okay.
And the more sleep you get, the more Pokemon your Snorlax attracts.
Oh, how exciting.
And the more you can fill out your Pokedex.
Oh.
Is it going to help people sleep? I don't know.
Did you try it?
I have tried it once.
Okay.
The second time I went to sleep before I could set it up. I did the whole classic thing when you're on your phone and you go to sleep at some point.
That was my problem with Sleep Cycles. I always forgot to keep setting it up in the morning, like in the evening before I went to sleep, because you have to set it up every night.
You've actually got to open up the app, and actually it's so much easier just to go to sleep while just kind of doom scrolling. But
don't do that. That's very bad. We're not encouraging that.
That's the reason why we're talking about Pokemon Sleep, because this encourages positive
sleeping.
Not the negative habits, which is doom scrolling into your sleep.
Sleep.
It also gives you something else to look at first thing in the morning. So when you wake up, check your phone. Don't necessarily have to check the news. Don't necessarily have to check your favourite social media.
You have to check which Pokemon you've got.
You could check what Pokemon you got.
Oh, it's so cute.
You could check how well you slept. You could, and all that sort of stuff. It is available on both iPhone and Android.
It looks
check
very
it out.
pretty. Again, if you see, like, if you're watching on YouTube, hello, but also then, like, you can see what the app looks like. There's a little Pikachu.
He's your friend. He's
Pikachu.
your buddy forever.
Yeah, I see. That was my favourite joke of all time. How do you get Pikachu on a bus? Pokemon. It looks very pretty. I'm sorry, that was a really bad joke, but it's one of my favourites. And yeah, you can see it, and I guess it's a fun way of sleeping, I guess. Yeah. Anyway.
It is what it is.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And it's nice. It's all right. It's
meant to encourage
it's an
you to
interesting
sleep.
way of thinking about sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And with that,
we should probably stop at that.
Yeah, we need to stop because my voice is about to go. Yeah,
stop.
It's time to say goodbye. It's like a children's TV show. Goodbye. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you can find us on all social medias. You can find us on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook and TikTok,
and all the things.
And you can find us
and Threads as well.
We're on Threads. That's exciting. And you can find us at YMCA Exeter and at YMCA Exeter Games. You can also find us on YouTube. And we, if you are watching on YouTube, you can like and subscribe. And we will see you next week.
See ya.